Hello everyone, I am Dr. Payal Saha and in this video I am going to discuss programmable logic devices. First, let us consider what is a PLD. A PLD is a programmable IC containing arrays of AND gates and OR gates. These arrays of AND and OR gates can be programmed by the user or the system designer to implement logic functions. Next, we consider what are the advantages of PLDs, why we use them at all. So the points considerable are: number one, PLD chips can be erased electrically and programmed to implement different logic functions. That means they are programmable. The second point is they are faster. That means designing with PLD chips is faster, which reduces the time to bring the product in market. The third point to consider is to reprogram the PLD, we do not have to redesign the circuit board. So redesigning circuit board is not required. Let us now categorize the PLD into its different types. PLDs are broadly divided into two categories. The first one, simple programmable logic device or SPLDs, which consist of arrays of AND gates or OR gates. The diagram shows the arrays of AND gates and OR gates, giving us a simple PLD. The second type is called as complex programmable logic device or CPLD, which consist of clusters of SPLD like blocks. So they form a complex architecture which we call as CPLD architecture. Now, depending upon whether we can program the AND gates or the OR gates or both, the SPLDs are further categorized into three types. The first one is called as ROM, which stands for read only memory. Sometimes we also refer to it as PROM, that is programmable read only memory. The second type of SPLD is called as programmable array logic or PAL, and the third one is referred to as programmable logic array or PLA. Now let us look at the three SPLD configurations. The first one, that is the ROM or PROM, consists of fixed AND arrays or the decoder and a programmable OR array. The second one, that is PAL or programmable array logic, consists of programmable AND array and fixed OR array. Whereas the third one, that is PLA, consists of both AND and OR arrays which are programmable. So in the first case, it is the OR array which is programmable. In the second case, it is the AND array which is programmable. Whereas in case of PLA, both arrays are programmable. Now let us see the detailed configuration of read-only memory or programmable read-only memory. A ROM consists of n input lines which are given to the fixed AND array or decoder. These n lines correspond to the n literals of a given logic function. The AND array or decoder generates 2 raised to n outputs corresponding to all the minterms possible with n literals. The programmable OR array has m output lines. So when we specify the size of a ROM, we specify it as 2 raised to n cross m. Now let us consider an example of a ROM whose size is given as 8 cross 4. 8 cross 4 means that the number of minterms, that is 2 raised to n equals to 8, or the number of input lines n equals to 3. So we are going to use a 3:8 decoder for the fixed AND array. As the number of output lines m is given as 4, therefore we are going to use an array of 4 OR gates. A single line represents all the inputs to one OR gate. A cross in the array corresponds to attaching the minterm to the OR gate output. Now let us consider an example of an input A2, A1, A0 as 001. 001 corresponds to the output of the decoder as D1. Now the data which is to be stored at D1 is 0011. That means at location F3 the data which is to be stored is 0, hence no connection is made. At location F2 the data again is 0, so again no connection is made. Whereas at location F1, since the data to be stored is 1, therefore a connection is made corresponding to that crossover point. Similarly at F0 also, the data which is to be stored is 1 and hence again a cross is made at that crossover point. Now we consider the construction of a 32 by 8 ROM. Here 2 raised to n equals to 32. Therefore n equals to 5. So we use a 5 is to 32 decoder. Each output of the decoder represents a memory address or a minterm. The data to be stored at each of these address is of 8 bits because the size of the ROM is specified as 32 by 8. So the OR array comprises of 8 OR gates. Now each OR gate input may be considered as having 32 inputs. This is shown by the blue ink in the diagram. The data which is to be filled at each of these memory address depends upon a ROM programming table which is shown in the next slide. In our example of the 32 cross 8 ROM, we had taken a 5 is to 32 decoder. So in the ROM programming table, we are taking 5 inputs, that is I0 to I4 representing the 5 inputs. With these 5 inputs, we are able to generate 32 minterms or 32 memory addresses. Now we need to store data at each of this memory address. The size of the data which is to be stored at each of these address is of 8 bits since it is 32 cross 8 ROM. The program for the ROM is nothing but a multiple output truth table. For a one entry in the truth table, a connection is made between the minterm and the corresponding output. For a zero entry, no connection is made. In this example, let us say that at memory address 00011, that is address 3, we want to store the data 10110010. The implementation is shown in the next slide. Now, for programming the ROM, as per the ROM programming table given in the previous slide, we recall that a 0 means no connection, whereas a 1 in the truth table means a connection has to be made. Now the data which is to be stored at address 3 is 10110010. This is implemented with the help of this circuit diagram. In this circuit diagram, the output at address 3 is storing the data 10110010. Wherever crossover points are there, if the data stored is 1, then the connection has been made, else for data 0 there is no connection. After ROM, we consider the programmable array logic, that is PAL. The PAL is the opposite of the ROM, having a programmable set of ANDs combined with fixed set of ORs. The main advantages which we gain from this configuration is, for a given internal complexity, a PAL can have a larger value of N and M, that is inputs and outputs. Next, some PALs have outputs that can be complemented, adding POS function, whereas in ROM we have seen that only SOP functions can be implemented. The third point of advantage is no multi-level circuit implementation was possible in ROM, whereas in PAL this is possible. Let us consider an example of a PAL whose size is given as 4 input, 4 output with fixed 3 input OR terms. By 4 input we mean that the SOP expressions have got 4 variables or literals which are shown as A, B, C and D in this diagram. The 4 outputs are shown as functions F1, F2, F3 and F4 respectively. Each OR gate is shown as having 3 inputs. I have shown for the first OR gate. The same goes for the others. Remember, for PAL, the OR array input is fixed, whereas the AND array is programmable. Now let us see how to implement logic functions F1 through F4 with the help of PAL. What are the equations for F1 through F4? Now, the equation for F1 evident from the diagram is F1 equals to C bar plus A bar B bar. The realization of this equation is achieved by giving all variables to a block which we call as dual inverter. Now, the role of the dual inverter is to generate two output. One, the variable itself, that is A. The second, the complement of variable, that is a bar. Similarly, we can generate b bar, c bar and d bar as shown at the top of the diagram. Now, the first AND gate for the function f1 is receiving c bar. The second AND gate of the same function f1 is receiving a bar dot b bar. As there are only two product terms, there is no connection shown for the third AND gate. Next, we consider the equation for f2. The equation for f2 is a bar b c bar plus ac plus ab bar. Again, there are three product terms in this equation. The first product term receives a bar b c bar. The second AND gate receives AC and the third AND gate is receiving AB bar. The output of the OR gate gives us the function F2. Now the equation for F3 is AD plus BD plus F1. Now I had already highlighted the F1. So the F1 goes as one input to the dual inverter. The role of the dual inverter, as mentioned before, is to generate F1, the variable itself, and the complement of the variable, that is F1 bar. Now, F1 is acting as one input to the equation F3, whereas the next equation, that is F4, is having again three product terms, AB plus CD plus F1 bar. So, depending upon how the equations are given, we are generating the programmable AND gates and the fixed OR gates to give us realization of SOP expressions through programmable array logic, that is PAL. Taking a second example for PAL implementation, again we consider a case of 4 outputs, 4 inputs and 3 product terms. In this case, the first output is denoted as W, which is a function of 4 input variables A, B, C, D. It is shown as summation of minterms 2, 12 and 13. The next output, that is X, again a function of ABCD, is shown as summation of minterms 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. The next two outputs, that is Y and Z, is shown as summation of some minterms. Now to implement this, we have to convert the minterm expression into Boolean algebraic form. For that, we take the help of either Boolean algebra or K-maps and get the equations for W, X, Y and Z in the following manner. Now what we observe is the equations for W, X and Y has got either two product terms or three product terms, but the equation for Z has got a 4 product terms, which is against the input given in the problem statement. Now what we observe is the first two terms for Z is nothing but equal to W. So we can substitute for Z W plus A C bar D bar plus A bar C bar D. This gives us the size of Z as the required 3 product terms. Now for the PAL table, we make the programming in the following manner. The right hand side of the table consists of the column for the outputs, namely W, X, Y and Z. Now corresponding to each output, for example W, as the size of the PAL is 3 product terms, so on the extreme left hand side of the table we have shown 3 product terms, that is 1, 2 and 3 corresponding to W. Likewise for X, Y and Z also there are 3 product terms mentioned on the left hand side of the table. The value of W as given by the equation is A, B, C bar plus A bar, B bar, C, D bar. So the first product term is A, B, C bar, that is shown on the middle column of the table, wherein the values of the variables A is 1, B is 1 and C is given as 0 because it comes in the complemented form. The next product term for W is A bar, B bar, C, D bar. That is why A, B and D are appearing in complemented form, that is 0, whereas since C is uncomplemented, it comes out as 1. As there are 3 product terms permissible, whereas W has got only 2 product terms, the third product term is given as all dashed for the input variables. Now, W is shown as an input because it comes as an input for the output term Z. The circuit diagram for the implementation of this PAL is shown over here. In this case, A, B, C, D are the input variables which are again given to dual inverters to generate the variables and its complements. The outputs denoted by W, X, Y and Z on the right hand side of the figure are coming out from the array of OR gates. The AND gates, which corresponds to the product terms, for each output there are 3. The AND gates with a cross at the center denote that there are no inputs to those AND gates. A programmable logic array or PLA is the most flexible thing compared to a ROM and a PAL, having a programmable set of AND gates combined with a programmable set of OR gates. The advantages which we derive from such a configuration is a PLA can have a large number of input and output, that is N and M, permitting implementation of equations that are impractical for a ROM. Next, a PLA has all of its product terms connectable to all outputs, overcoming the problem of the limited inputs to the OR gates of PAL. Next, some PLAs have outputs that can be complemented, adding POS functions which are not implementable in case of a PAL and ROM. We take one example for PLA implementation. The example that we choose over here has got 3 input terms, 2 output terms and 4 product terms. The circuit diagram of the PLA implementation shows us the 3 input terms as A, B and C. The 2 outputs are denoted as the outputs from these OR gates. The 4 product terms are coming out from the array of AND gates. Now, the input variables A, B and C are given to dual inverters, whose role is to generate at the output the variable itself as well as its complement. So, from the dual inverters what we are getting are A bar, B bar and C bar. The output of the AND gate array gives us product terms like AB, BC, AC and A bar, B bar. Some of these product terms goes as input to the OR gates to generate the final output F1 and F2. Now, the role of the XOR gate comes when we want either the output in its inverted form or in its true form. The output is inverted when the XOR gate second input is connected to logic 1, since we know that X XOR 1 is equal to X bar. The output does not change when the other input of XOR is connected to logic 0, since we know that X XOR 0 equals to X. Now the question arises, what are the equations for F1 and F2? That we see in the next slide. Now we see how to find out the equations for F1 and F2. Referring to the previous diagram, we see in the diagram for equation of F1, it is coming from the output of this OR gate. The input to this OR gate is coming from product terms AB bar, AC and A bar B, C bar. This output of the OR gate is going to the XOR whose second input is coming from 0. That means the product terms are appearing in uncomplemented form in the equation for F1. Now, for F2, the inputs to the OR gate are coming from the product terms AC and BC. The output of the OR gate goes to the second XOR, whose second input is coming from logic 1. That means the function F2 is coming as complemented form for the summation of product terms AC and BC. Now, to implement the PLA programming table, on the left hand side, we write or list down all the product terms. So we are writing AB bar, AC, BC and A bar, BC bar on the left hand side. We also give a number to the product term, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. These 4 product terms are nothing but coming out from the array of AND gates. Now, referring to the input sides, the 3 variables which are acting as input in this case are A, B and C. The first AND gate are receiving its inputs from A and B bar. So the value for A is 1 and for B it is 0. Whereas since the variable C does not appear in this product term, it is given as dashed. Similarly, for all the other product terms, we put the values of the inputs in terms of 1, 0 or dashed. Now, for getting the output, if the output is in true form, we write it as T. If the output is in complemented form, we write it as C. The function f1 is deriving its input from the three product term number 1, 2 and 4. That is why the third product term has been left vacant for f1. Whereas for f2, since it is coming in the complemented form, the product terms AC and BC are shown for f2 but in the column for C. This gives us an idea of PLA implementation for SOP expressions. Here are some tips for simplification of PLA implementations. The first one is careful investigation must be undertaken in order to reduce the number of distinct product terms, as the PLA has finite number of AND gates. Next, both the true and complement of each function should be simplified to see which one can be expressed with fewer product terms and which one provides product terms that are common to other functions. This brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you everyone.